Hello and welcome to the show. You know, for some folks, it is easy to fall in love. It's just a lot harder to find someone to catch you. My guest today experienced firsthand on camera as cast members of the popular Netflix series, The Later Daters, how tricky it can be. They are all bold and beautiful women with important messages to share, especially about dating after losing a loved one, including Anise Mastin. She is a fit, savvy, and sexy 60-something who loves getting outside and staying outside. Homebodies need not apply. She's been divorced twice, but her first husband died in a job-related accident many years ago. Also here with us today is Suzanne Doty, known for her big energy, big hair, big heels, and her big love for the Georgia Bulldogs. She was married for 27 years before her husband passed away. And then there is Pam Marriott Land, a fabulously funny retired flight attendant who kept fans amused with her quick wit and quirky personality. Both of her husbands passed away, and believe it or not, she just started going out on dates during the production of Later Daters. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It has been such a delight getting to know you on TV, so to speak, but to have you here to share the lessons, not really of the show, but in life. And for the women who are watching, who could relate to every one of you in some way or shape or form. It's a pleasure to have you here. I just want to dive right in. Your husbands all passed away some time ago. Just let's talk about the challenges for the women who are like, okay, I still love him and I still miss him, but I now long for companionship. Who wants to go first?
I can dive in.
I already knew it. I was just being nice.
We always
go ahead.
Yes. So I am probably, Chris has been gone for almost 7 years. Now, and so basically, you know, grieving is a process.
Yeah.
I didn't get out of bed for 2 years probably. You know, just buried myself in my work, made sure my children were okay.
Yeah.
But you get to a point where you find joy and you find that gratitude needs to replace grief, and you laugh at the memories and the good times that you have. And that's when I think the balance is there. So it's time for you to get out and meet somebody.
Right.
You know, we all need to love. And so for me, that's what it was the balance, the joy. You know, I was happy with myself. I enjoyed spending time alone, but it was time then, I think, with that balance.
And I love how in the show, too, you speak of Chris in a present tense, you know, when the chimes, you know, blow in the wind. I think, how much of it is learning how to recognize that this isn't leaving someone behind, that it's moving forward and acknowledging their chapter in your life.
Right.
I taught my children that even though their dad was no longer here, we would speak of him as if he was here. We would laugh, we would cry, we would get angry. And talking about him actually helped us in the grieving process. So it was very important. Even I had family members say, stop talking about it. He's been gone for a while. I'm like, it's important to me.
You all
this
kind
is
of responded
to my children.
That.
Yeah. And so you have to know who you are and that person's life still matters. You don't have to let it go.
Right.
You can still honor it.
Right. What does that look like for you?
Mine's sort of opposite, because it seems like right now I'm in my grieving process. When they died, I stayed so busy. I traveled. I was just having the time of my life, I thought, but it was to ignore the grief. And for the first time in 72 years, I'm an empty nester. I've always lived with someone, family or children or husbands or roommates, and I'm alone now in the big old house with nothing but my thoughts, and I have just about come close to a breakdown lately. Because I've reflected on everything and so many regrets, but like I said, I didn't give myself time. So I tell people to please give yourself time. Don't listen to other people when they say shake it off. Do it your own pace.
Yeah. May I ask,
Absolutely.
how long has it been now since?
Will died in 2008, and then my first husband died at 44 in 1991.
Wow.
So for you in particular, since this is really still very raw, and I appreciate your candor, when you decided, or did the kids decide for you? Did the grands decide for you? How did you find your way willing to make yourself open to dating and in such a public way?
Well, I was always open to dating. I met quite a few men. I went out a few times, but
just watch, you'll understand. There's a whole backstory there.
And you know, the kids were all, I mean, they were moving out, and my granddaughter was getting married. They were worried that I was going to be alone because I was retiring. And I flew for 50 years. I flew since I was 20 years old. And if my first husband was an entertainer, so when I wasn't flying, I was on the road with him,
right,
getting 15-year-olds out of the tour bus. But like I said, they worried about me, and now I said, you don't have a thing to worry about, but they do, because I'm alone.
May I ask, for any or all of you, how important was therapy? Or was therapy a part of that at all for any of you?
Not for me, as far as professional therapy. I kind of did things on my own. I kind of was like Pam a little bit as well, in that I buried myself in my job, and then I wanted to make sure my kids were okay. So that was sort of my therapy. And then, you know, the other thing people don't talk about is how your friendship group changes. Every part of your life changes when you lose your spouse. You know,
some stay, some go.
Yeah, and it was more me, because I felt like a third wheel or a fifth wheel. My memories of Chris were there when I was out with my friends. And so you know, that's such a large part of it as well. Taking my ring off was traumatic for me. But you have to kind of work yourself through you know, I'm not dismissing this relationship. He is still a part of my life, but those are big steps, I think.
The big steps there. And the conversations with the kids. I'm hoping we can get to that a little bit later in this show, too, because I have to imagine you're sort of waiting for the sign-off from the kids. Yes. All right. Ladies, I thank you. Good start to a very important conversation. Up next, you're going to meet Lori, Nate, Greg, and his fiance, as Tessie. They have some really valuable life lessons to share with all of the divorcees out there. The conversation is going to continue right after the break. Stay with us. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.